ranking one of the most unique fresh mist fragrance lines ever. So I think it's really rare nowadays to come across fragrances that are unique. But this line is definitely unique, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a bit obsessed with it. So this is the Kenzo line, and I've already done a comparison between Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum, Kenzo EDT Intense, and Kenzo Homme Marin. I'm gonna link to that comparison somewhere up here and in the description below. But that comparison was done back in 2024, and since then they released Kenzo Homme Santal Marin and Kenzo Homme Indigo. And with these two new releases, the question is, how am I going to rank them all? So this is my new full Kenzo Homme comparison and ranking. So I'm gonna work my way through them all, talk about what they smell like, compare them, and then finally rank them from my least favorite to the one I think is the best. So everything started when I blind bought Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum. And what made me obsessed is its unique aquatic freshness and how different it is compared to most other freshes. And what really made me blind buy it is the combination of marine notes, leather, and patchouli. And Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum is basically a marine kind of fresh scent with a smooth dose of leather, and the whole thing has quite a smooth woody side as well. It's fresh for sure, but its freshness, at least to my nose, is not overly bright or overly intense, and instead more on the smooth side. There's a bit of spiciness here as well, together with what I feel is quite an intense dose of saltiness. And what makes Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum so unique and so good is really the contrast between its marine freshness and the soft warmth of that leather, together with its smooth woodiness. The more Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum dries down, the less fresh it is, and it's instead more smoothly leathery and woody. The contrast here is so cool. I mean, it's not exactly a freshie, even though it has quite an intense dose of freshness to it. I also don't consider it a leather focused scent, even though it has a very prominent dose of leather to it. It's very much a hybrid that's definitely more versatile than most leather focused scents, but at the same time not as light, intensely bright, and intensely fresh as some freshes can be. So I like Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum so much that I ended up buying Kenzo Homme Eau de Toilette Intense. So Kenzo Homme Eau de Toilette Intense opens up with the same sort of a kind of freshness as the Eau de Parfum, but it's a bit different for sure. And to my nose, it's definitely a lighter and brighter take on that marine freshness. And its freshness is even lighter and brighter thanks to a dose of spiciness. So EDT Intense is a lighter, brighter, and more intensely fresh kind of scent if you compare it to the Eau de Parfum. So if the Eau de Parfum started it all for me, then the EDT Intense is what really turns the whole thing into an obsession. And the main reason for that is that the EDT Intense combines that unique Kenzo marine freshness with a fantastic, intoxicating, sexy dose of sweetness. It basically takes that freshness and blends it with a gorgeous dose of fruitiness and sweetness. The drawdown is where the whole thing turns less fresh and instead more woody, with a super smooth dose of sandalwood and akigala wood. I absolutely love this combo of freshness, fruitiness, and sweetness, and it's a fruity, fresh, and woody combo that to my nose is incredibly unique. So after Kenzo Homme EDT Intense, I was obsessed and blind bought the Marin. And to my nose, Kenzo Homme Marin, even including the newer ones, is the absolute most intensely fresh and bright of them all. The EDT Intense is fresher and brighter than the Eau de Parfum, and Marin takes that freshness in an even brighter and lighter direction. You do recognize that unique marine freshness, but I do feel that freshness comes across a bit different in Marin. Its marine freshness has a bit of saltiness to it, but I do not find it to be as salty as the Eau de Parfum, but a bit more salty than the EDT Intense. But the main twist to Kenzo Homme Marin is that they added a dose of ylang-ylang, which to me gives the whole thing this creamy floral kind of freshness that basically gives the whole scent this quite exotic and a tropical kind of vibe. The more Kenzo Homme Marin dries down, the more you start getting a fresher kind of musk and also a bit of sweetness. The full dry down is when Kenzo Homme Marin turns into this extremely smoothly and creamy woody scent with a focus on sandalwood, and behind it you got a bit of soft fresh musk, a bit of freshness and a floral touch, and the whole thing is softly powdery. And to my nose, Kenzo Homme Marin is basically a fresh, floral and woody scent. So I remember when I did my first impressions of Kenzo Homme Santal Marin, I really liked it, but at the same time, I was a bit underwhelmed. And thinking back on it, I think that the main reason why I was a bit underwhelmed is because my expectations was set so high because of these three. But here's the thing, since then I've used it quite a bit and it has definitely grown on me a lot. And very simplified to my nose, Santal Marin is where they took the woodiness from the EDT Intense but really dialed up, amped up, which basically makes the whole thing quite intensely woody. And on top of that intense but smooth dose of woodiness, you have that signature Kenzo Marin freshness. The main twist though is that they added lavender to Santal Marin, which basically makes this the one with the most noticeable dose of aromatic freshness. If you're a subscriber, and if you're not yet a subscriber, then what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe and please do drop a like on this video. Thank you. Then you know that I absolutely love the scent of lavender, and I do feel that the combination here of lavender together with that unique Kenzo Marin freshness and its woodiness, intense woodiness, is really nice. And I also feel this flanker is actually sort of unique enough within the line. And even if I go outside the line, I really don't have anything quite like this. So what you're getting with Kenzo Homme Santal Marin is basically quite a noticeable dose of aromatic freshness from lavender. You have that unique Kenzo Homme aquatic freshness, and the whole thing is quite intensely, but at the same time smoothly woody. The combination of Gaiac wood and Sana wood in Santal Marin is really what makes its woodiness a bit unique. The intense Gaiac wood in Santal Marin definitely adds quite a bit of a unique twist to it. Comparing its freshness and brightness to the others, it's definitely not as intensely bright and fresh and light as Marin. It's almost on par, perhaps a bit lighter and fresher than the EDT Intense, but it's definitely lighter and brighter and fresher than the Eau de Parfum. So moving on to Kenzo Homme Indigo, which I basically bought the moment I saw it when it was released sometime last year. So Kenzo Homme Indigo basically opens up with that unique Kenzo Marin freshness, but there's a twist right away, and that twist is iris. So it's basically that Marin freshness together with what I feel is a soft kind of powderness. The powderness of Kenzo Homme Indigo is definitely not of the super rich or thick kind. You will definitely notice its powderness, but at the same time it's more of a fresh and light kind of powderness. The more Kenzo Homme Indigo dries down, the more the whole thing turns into something that to my nose is smoothly woody and smoothly leathery, with a bit of that unique freshness and a soft kind of powderness to it. And to me, Indigo almost feels like they based it on the Eau de Parfum, but made the whole thing a bit brighter, a bit lighter, a bit fresher and powdery. So let's quickly compare the performance. And I know I've said this pretty much every single time I talk about pretty much any of them, but I have no idea what Kenzo puts in their fragrances. But whatever it is, other fragrance houses should definitely do the same. All of these, at least on my skin, has extreme longevity, and pretty much all of them are extremely easily noticeable, at least for like the first couple of hours. So projection and longevity is definitely approved across the range. But comparing them all, I do think probably that the Eau de Toilette Intense is the most top performing of them all. The Eau de Parfum and Santal Marin are probably the two after that one. And between Marin and Indigo, it's almost a tie, but I might actually get a bit better and more long-lasting performance from Marin. And for the kind of scent it is, Marin definitely has really good performance. When it comes to usage, I do feel you can use the entire range throughout the year. However, the Eau de Parfum is definitely the one I tend to reach for the most for like fall and spring. The EDT Intense and Marin are probably my two most favorite for warm summer days. Santal Marin is definitely one I tend to use throughout the year. And the same thing with Kenzo Homme Indigo. However, for those warm days, I tend to reach for these three a bit more with a focus on these two. So how am I going to rank these, and which of them do I think is the best? Choosing between them all is a tough one because I absolutely love that core Kenzo sort of a DNA. However, my least favorite is actually an easy one, and that is Kenzo Homme Indigo. I think it smells good and I do enjoy wearing it, but there's something about its powderness and how that powderness gets too soft too fast that, simply put, makes me rank it below the others. I mean, you're still getting that gorgeous aquatic freshness, but I do not feel its powderness is a peak. Now is when things are actually getting really tough, and for me, Fourth place is really between Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum and Santal Marin. I mean, I'm a leather freak, and the OG's mix of that leather, its woodiness and that freshness is something that I feel is truly unique. But I also absolutely love the scent of lavender, and I do think they did a really good job on combining lavender with the unique Marin DNA of the line. So basically it's between the creamy smooth leather from the Eau de Parfum against the aromatic brightness and freshness from lavender, and it feels like I'm betraying the OG, the one that got me into the line. And it could almost be a toss-up between these two, but I'm gonna say, at least right now, that Santal Marin beats the Eau de Parfum just by a little bit. So sorry Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum, but Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum takes fourth. So in third place we have Kenzo Homme Santal Marin. So once again it's between these two, and I absolutely love both, and I bought backup bottles of both. However, if you look how much I use them, the Marin is actually a bigger bottle and I used more of it, and it's basically sort of simplified the Marin freshness together with the fruitiness and woodiness of the EDT Intense against the brighter and lighter combination of Marin freshness, florals, and super creamy smooth woodiness. And once again, it's so hard to decide between the two, and once again I'm tempted to make it a tie, but we ain't gonna do that this time around. And I'm actually gonna say that even though I absolutely love both of them, my usage of Marin is going to guide this decision. I'm gonna say Kenzo Homme Marin barely nudges Kenzo Homme EDT Intense into second place. The fruitiness of EDT Intense 2- in combination with its aquatic freshness is absolutely intoxicating, but there's something about the floral side of this, the more exotic and tropical vibe of it, and the overall lighter and brighter freshness together with the extremely creamy woodiness of Marin that makes it win this. But again, I'm so obsessed with both of them, so this could almost be a tie. So this is what I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these? Which of them is your absolute best, and how would you rank them all? Let me know in the comments. Please drop a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my other videos over there.